Welcome everybody to KUAF, the lunch hour, presented by George's Majestic Lounge Happy Hour. I'm super excited. We have Rob and Adrian from the Farmer's Table, and we have a good friend, Adam Faucett, and then my boy Ethan with us hosting today.
Hello.
Boom. If there was a theme that I could label this episode, it would be like homie. Like both of you guys give a very like homey kind of vibe, and like I could look like I was looking out in a crowd at people's faces, like reacting to the songs, like the lyrics, like the inflections, the vocals, and just like you can just tell that they related so much to it. And so Adam, I'll start with you. Where does that desire, where does that come from, that sense to put out something that's like makes people feel at home and at ease?
I mean, I've kind of always done it, and I've been doing it for so long, like most of my life. I don't even really listen to a whole lot of music that sounds like mine, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I just kind of have a thing that I can do, and I do it.
Do you find yourself often surprised that people like gravitate so much to it and like connect with it so much?
Yeah, I think anybody in my position's pretty, thankful that anybody will give you the time of day. I mean, you know what I'm saying? When we started doing this, like on the road and stuff, it wasn't really a career move. It was kind of like I'm too dumb to hop trains, but I can ride in a van. And, it was so long ago you could make good money off of just selling a CD. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I didn't think it was going to take, to be honest with you. It was just kind of like we were living in Chicago at the time, and I was just tired of paying rent, really. Tired of working a job. And it turns out this is like 5 times the job that job was.
All right, I'm gonna throw it to you guys. I'm curious, where does that like that sense of like hominess come from, and that desire to push that out?
Yeah. While we were sitting here, I was also thinking honest is probably another word that like. Yeah. When I think of your music, I think of honesty and like raw.
Thank you.
I think with our food, we try to do the same thing. We try to we're not. Neither Rob or I are culinary trained chefs or anything like that, but we operate out of a home. We want our food to feel like home. We started it with kind of like cooking like we cook at home, just honest ingredients, and let the flavors of the food, the ingredients speak for themselves. So tonight we had some, and we try to source as much locally as we can. And tonight we had local greens and cabbage and carrots and mushrooms, and then the pork and the rice were all grown right around here in our home.
I will say it was very good. So thank y'all for awesome. Doing that. Adam, I felt like, and I wasn't super familiar with your music before, but I felt like a lot of your writing was pretty emotionally charged. Sure. How much of that is introspective? Like
100%.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never been a party for me. I don't dance. You know what I'm saying? So it's all kind of pretty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I don't really know where it comes from. It's all pretty natural. Comes pretty natural to me.
Good stuff.
I'm curious, and this is, for both of y'all, and I'll start with you guys. As you experience like success and more people start to like gravitate to like what it is that you guys are doing, there's like sometimes a temptation to like change what you're doing to like, make it more palpable, or, change it in a sense. Like, it hasn't seemed like you guys have done that. Neither one of you. You've both been like remained true to like, where you started and what you began with. And I'm curious, how have you not done that? Like, what kept you from doing that?
First off, with the name of like Farmer's Table Cafe, that is the whole cafe it evolves around local food. Everything, every dish, every thought, and that's why breakfast came out of this, because When she was writing the menu, we were writing the menu. What could we get locally? Well, breakfast just kind of fit. The eggs, the greens, the flour that we get from War Eagle Mill, all of the things it all came together. And so breakfast just kind of fit with local food. And local food's always been there for us. So everything that we do first comes in mind as local. And that's just kind of, we've just stuck with it. It works. I love that. So, yeah. And we have a great food system to support it. So, yeah.
Adam, I'm gonna throw the same question to you. What's been the thing that's like kept you from not changing what's the thing that kept you to like honestly just remain true to yourself and the sound that you have?
I guess maybe since I've never really, it's never really been like a big cash cow, and I'm pretty comfortable with kind of how I do things. It's like, I'm not going to just step out and try to do something trendy or whatever. I just feel like you can see me from across the street and be like, I don't think that guy cares. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to his point about the local, like a lot of my songs are very Arkansas based, like lyrically. And, I like that because I don't really think Arkansas gets really much of a, outside Arkansas. Like most people don't even know where it's at on a map. You know what I'm saying? Or they don't know how to abbreviate it. I can't tell you how many like tour T-shirts I've got that they played Little Rock, Alaska. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or so I don't know. And like, I grew up on pavement. I'm not an outdoors person. I'm kind of hung out with all the skater kids, so it's kind of like important for me to remind or maybe enlighten people that there's other things going on down here. Like we're not all farmers, or you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That might sound bad. I don't know.
No, to me, it's like both of you guys give off like this celebration of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you're right, like Arkansas isn't like just like one thing, it's like, it's not a monolith. It's so many different things that are like existing right now and are like, and it's changing and it's, it's growing. And so like, I love that like you get to represent a part of Arkansas and then you guys get to represent a part of Arkansas. I'm curious as like, what has some of the challenges been sort of like putting on that banner for Arkansas on the national stage, going to the national stage. I know with you guys, like I remember one time like Pharrell was here and he came and he posted about you guys. Like what is it like being like that space for Arkansas that like, like we kind of represent Arkansas,
Yeah, I think you said you never thought you were going to be successful as you were or whatever, and I think the same with us. When we opened, we had no idea what we were opening our doors to, and yeah, I think Pharrell showed up. We had been open for maybe 3 weeks or something. Like I was literally at Kinko's getting the menus printed, and Rob calls and he's like, some rapper guy's here and they've got bodyguards, they want to like look around the place. And I was like, okay. So, and literally after that happened, People magazine, we were empty. We had no customers. It was a rainy morning. Rob and I were like pacing, like, what have we done? We've both quit our jobs and come to do this, and it's not gonna work. And People magazine called. They were asking for our publicist, and I was like, hold on, please. Hello, it's me. Like, yeah. I think she might be scrubbing the toilet. Let me go find her. But we just, from that minute on, we've had a line out the door, and we're overwhelmed and in shock and awe of it. And
our first 10 times.
Grateful, very grateful. But yeah, we had no idea what was in store. So.
That's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Best publicity ever, right?
No joke.
Yeah.
So that was 3 weeks in, but like before that, What was it? What was the first thing that you were like, we want to quit our jobs, we want to open this? I should have prefaced that by saying who I was answering that or asking that question.
We kind of thought the same thing, like, let's work for ourselves instead of working for someone else. It'll be so much more flexible on time, and we'll get to see our kids a lot more. Yeah, that's not. No. Yeah, I guess it kind of started, I was working at the farmer's market doing an organization called Feed Fayetteville, and we were gleaning produce for hunger relief, and I think we were just kind of like, and Rob was in the restaurant industry, and we just would talk and be like, why are all these farmers not selling this food to restaurants? Like, what's so hard about that? And we just kind of took that hypothesis and ran with it to figure out how to make it work.
I got fired.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal. I was stocking shelves. It wasn't like it wasn't a huge blow. It was just like, I don't want to go find another shelf job.
You know, as you like tour and go to different cities, like, how is it like, you know, representing Arkansas in these different places and being like, yo, like, yeah, I'm a singer from Arkansas, and like, you know, what is that like?
I would say it's mostly in the U.S. It's not an issue until you get to like New York City and up, and they're like, whoa, do you know Bill Clinton, kind of thing. But then if you leave the country, that's where it really starts. They're like, because they all know, like, the first time I went to Europe, like, I thought I was going to have to explain, like, where I was from and why I speak the way I do. Nope. Everybody wanted to talk about the Clintons. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow. I had no idea you guys were keeping watch on us that hard. And sorry, never met them. I was a child. I wasn't paying attention. So it's either like, oh man, you got shoes on, or it's like kind of exotic. Like, what's it like down in Arkansas? I'm like, I don't know. It's not a whole lot different than Ithaca. You know what I'm saying? So,
I guess one thing, what do you have upcoming if you're okay with letting us know?
Yeah. Playing at Crystal Bridges next week. Nice. Playing kind of more of a metal festival down in Little Rock the following week called Mutants of the Monster. And that's a weird thing. I go on tour with a lot of metal bands. Mm-hmm. Just doing what I just did. So
why do you think that is? That's interesting.
They dig it. It's kind of dark. Yeah. The guitar playing's kind of dorky. I don't know. I look like I should. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like I can stay up as late as all of them can. And then after that, we're working on another record. It'll be my 6th solo record. And I'm going on tour all over the U.S. starting in July, and I'll just be on tour until the wheels fall off.
That leads right into it. And it's for both of you, because I feel like you guys are kind of in two similar spaces, right? Like, you're getting ready to release a record that you haven't released a record in like what? How long?
4 years.
4 years. You guys are coming back from, you know, your hiatus of renovating, all of those things. Just now, like, your opening day was Mother's Day, right? Mother's Day weekend. And so I'm curious, like, what has been the feelings surrounding those spaces of like sort of re-entering into, you know, taking a break and then re-entering, and then even you can, if you want, you can throw some like pandemic, like, you know, what was the pandemic like for you as well?
Well, the pandemic was terrifying. It was terrifying, you know, and coming out of it, I feel like us as restaurant owners, most restaurant owners, it just wore us down. It kind of took the wind out of our sails some. But that being said, we were able to fix a few problems. We saw some problems, and we thought if we're going to remodel, why not do it in the middle of a pandemic when, you know, people aren't really eating out at restaurants as much as they used to. But coming back into it, it's exciting, overwhelming, scary, fresh, all of the things. I mean, you know, trying to get back on the bicycle. We have some great people that are helping out these days. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been great to see our customers again. It's like an opening, but with regular people that you already know coming in, and that's been like reunited, and it feels so good to see everybody. Yeah, and we had quite a bit of staff that came back, and then we also have a lot of new staff, and they're bringing some fresh energy into the house, and yeah, it just feels lighter, and it kind of got heavy there after a while. We'd been carrying that thing for 2 years of a pandemic, and we need a little downtime, but yeah, we're back now, and happy to be back.
So for me, I guess, like, I had kind of 2 pandemics. I destroyed my vocal cords in the very early 2019, but I still had to tour, still had to work. It was terrible. I mean, like, I think most people, and most people I talk to that do this, when I tell them how long we were on the road, and I was just like, I couldn't speak, you know, I could barely sing. We did like 6 weeks, and they were like, why didn't you just cancel? I was like, well, I didn't know I was injured. I just thought that it would just get better. You know what I'm saying? Because, Anyway, got back home, still had a bunch of shows to play, and went to the doctor, and they were just like, yeah, man, these are shredded. like you need surgery, and you might not. I was like, am I going to be able to sing? And they're like, we're hoping that you're going to be able to speak, brother. And I'm like, wow, okay. So, and and the first doctor I went to, he didn't want to touch it. He passed me off. He just told me where to go. He's like, this lady is much better than me. I don't want to mess this up for you. So it was like a weird, like after the surgery, it was like I couldn't speak for a number of weeks, period. Yeah. And then like you could only speak for 3 minutes an hour. And then next week, 5 minutes an hour kind of thing. It took a long time. So my last show was June 14th of 19. And then I was out until December 9th of 2019. And then we were playing. Everything was going great. We had 3 tours booked. And our first tour back was the weekend everything closed down. So it was just like back to back. So I had kind of like a 3-year. And that's why, again, it's like, I haven't released a record in so long. It's just like, well, I spent like almost a full year not being able to speak. So the pandemic, like by the time the pandemic hit, I was just like, really? Like, for real? Like my grandparents didn't even see the last one. Like, really? Like, so, I don't do a lot of the same stuff that I did before I hurt myself. And I know a lot more about, how not to get hurt. So yeah, it just feels good. I mean, it just feels good to be back out and to be working again, really. I mean, like, there for a minute I was, just working the door at, a bar. And I was just like, man, I'm supposed to be on the other side of the monitors, but, so it feels great.
I have one last question.
Okay, yeah.
How long did the beard take to grow?
I've had a beard since the 90s. So I have no idea. When I lost my job in Chicago, I entertained I was looking for another job. I had no idea that this is what I was going to end up doing because of that. So I would try to trim it down. Yeah. But I screwed it up, and I took it off. And then I was like, oh yeah, I remember why I grew this thing in the first place. So I saw my face for about 10 minutes in 2007. But other than that, I've had it since at least the late 90s. So I don't know.
Wow. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for participating.
Thank you.
Yeah. This was so much fun. George's Majestic Lounge Happy Hour. That's what was brought to you by Jasper, Logan, Rob, and Adrian from the Farmer's Table, Adam Faucett, Ethan, and we are out.
Later.
Good run.